Which is better for you, a jumping spider or a tarantula? Let's find out in this video. Hello everyone, welcome back to Spooderpods. I am David and today we are doing another versus video. It's jumping spiders versus tarantulas, and we are looking at which one would make a better pet for you. And I'm going to go over some very important factors you should consider when you're working out which type of spider is going to be best fit for your lifestyle and your environment. So let's kick off straight away with lifespan. Tarantulas on average live much longer than jumping spiders. Jumping spider, the max you're going to get is a couple of years if you're lucky, whereas tarantulas, that's kind of the minimum. Some tarantulas can go on for decades depending on the species, and even the dwarf tarantula species on average live about 5 years depending on if they're male or female. Now, if a short lifespan is a deal breaker for you, then I would strongly consider a tarantula instead. However, if that doesn't bother you and you're happy to have a cute little spider in your life for a little bit less time, then maybe the jumping spider would be a good thing to consider. If you want to learn a little bit more about reasons you should not get a jumping spider, I'll leave a card for a video I did a while back right now. Let's talk about size when you're comparing jumping spiders and tarantulas. Now, as you're probably aware, jumping spiders are significantly smaller than a tarantula. Even dwarf tarantulas, you will find that jumping spiders are smaller or just even comparable at best. And that can be a great thing for some people. If you're limited on space, you want a smaller invert that doesn't need as big an enclosure, then a jumping spider is definitely the way to go for you. And also, size and being small can be cute, which we'll talk a bit about later. Tarantulas, on the other hand, come in a large variety of sizes. Tarantulas, you can get dwarf species, which at their smallest are about the size of the largest jumping spider, all the way through to your massive, like, bird-eating tarantulas who are absolutely huge. Even Shelob, our curly-head tarantula. Curly's the baby. Shelob, our curly-head tarantula, is very big now. She's almost the size of my hand, and she's probably going to get a little bit bigger than that. So if you want a bigger, more impressive pet, maybe the tarantula is the way to go. If you want a smaller, cuter one, I would say go for a jumping spider. Displayability, and people talk about display pets or display invertebrates loads in the invert and spider communities, and it's something that's really important to consider. When you talk about display pet, it basically means that they are visible and you can see them a lot. And I think jumping spiders have the edge on tarantulas here. And I'll give you my reasons, because I know some of you disagree with me here. Jumping spiders tend to be more active and they tend to move around a lot quicker. They also tend to be out and about a little bit more. And I think that makes them a slightly better display pet, because they're so active and because they move around, and because even when they're sitting in their webs, generally you'll be able to observe them. There are some caveats when they go into their hides, etc. Whereas tarantulas, depending on what type you get fossorial tarantulas, which is just, you see them once in a blue moon. You can get terrestrials, which once they get bigger will sit and be on display all the time. And then you've got your arboreals, which can be on display sometimes depending on the species. There's a lot more variability with tarantulas, and they do tend to move a bit slower, and you won't see them as active as a jumping spider. So again, it's something really important to consider for you. Do you want a really active small spider that's moving around loads? Jumping spider. If you want maybe something that's a little bit less active but can be on display lots, especially if you want a bigger one tarantula wise, maybe a tarantula's better. There is lots of variability, as you're probably learning from this video, and it's not just, oh well, this does this, this does that. You have to carefully consider everything to decide what one's going to be the best for you. Cuteness. I think jumping spiders win hands down here, and I know some of you are going to disagree in the comments because tarantulas can be cute depending on your perspective, but for me, tarantulas are more of a metal species. You know, I don't know why there's this association, but it sticks with me as well. Whereas the jumping spiders are just cuter. I think they look cuter. I think obviously the size plays a factor in it, and there's a reason why a lot of people use them for like desensitizing people who are scared of spiders to spiders with jumping spiders. Tarantulas can be cute, but yeah, jumping spiders just win hands down. If you want a cuter spider pet, just go for a jumping spider. They're so much cuter. And just to add to that, even their movements, like the way they wiggle their pedipalps, the way they move, the way they look at you, adorable. I think it's because they have those big eyes, it makes them look so cute, whereas the tarantulas have this like eye, I don't know, area on top of their head, and they can't really look at you in the same way. Space and husbandry. Again, this comes down to sizing. If you don't have much space, a small tarantula or a jumping spider is going to be a much better fit for you because they require a lot less space. Both do require live food, so if you're squeamish about that, neither is going to be good for you. Tarantulas will generally need more space unless you go for a fossorial dwarf, which can live in a very small enclosure and be happy. By very small, I'm not talking about unethically small here, by the way. It does depend a lot. both of them can be very easy, honestly. Some of the easier tarantula species can be so easy to look after. You just change their water once in a while, ensure their substrate's okay, and give them a feeding. Sorted. Same with jumping spiders, just need to maintain that humidity, keep an eye on them. Then obviously you've got more complex ones with more complex requirements. I strongly recommend looking into individual species you want to get at this point. Look at each individual type of jumping spider, look at each individual type of tarantula, and then you can sort of really zero in rather than being generalities, because generality will help you. This is what this video is really about, giving you a theme to be like, okay, I kind of lean towards this type of spider. Once you get to this point, then you can start thinking, right, I want a jumping spider, so I want an Apalachicola Philippus regius, or I want a tarantula, so I want a tiger rump dwarf, etc. So do your research and zero in on exactly what you want and what their requirements are. So there you have it. Any thoughts you have on the jumping spider versus tarantula pet debate? Love to hear from you down in the comments, but in the meantime, take care and see you later.